everyone, it's Charlton. All right, so Chris Collins, who's a congressman in, I believe it's upstate New York, and a former businessman. I like Chris Collins quite a lot. He seems like a decent guy, good guy. But he was arrested this morning. And he surrendered to, I think, two federal agents or two agents. I don't know if it's the Treasury or what. It's the Southern District of New York. He's being accused of insider trading. Him and his son's fiance's father. So, and it concerns a company that Chris Collins sat on the board for. I think presently. In fact, on his biography of his house, this is a .gov website. It shows that it's listed as one of his credentials. Before I even get to the whole meat of the article, he contends he never traded any stock in the company. So it's only his relatives that did, or people associated with him. So, and he's going to defend this vigorously. He says he'll be exonerated. They're going to give a press conference, meaning he still owned the company and he lost millions in this transaction. It's a pharmaceutical company based in Sydney, Australia, that he sits on the board for. They had some kind of multiple sclerosis drug that I think didn't get approved by the FDA, and that's what was in question around June. And the stock tanked at that point once it didn't get approval. And I'll get to the details that I don't even know specifically. They've released a 30-page indictment, that I think reporters are reading through right now. Fox just kind of went through some of the specifics of it, and how this kind of went down, and I'm sort of taking from that when I'm talking to you now. But there's more. So, according to the CNBC article here, it says that family members avoided losing $678,000. Okay, in total, the three defendants avoided over $678,000 in losses that would have otherwise incurred had they sold their stock after the information was made public, according to the indictment. But that's the three defendants. That would be the two defendants, because he didn't sell any stock to the best of my knowledge. So, and actually that's what it says here. It is notable that even the government does not allege that Congressman Collins traded a single share of Innate Therapeutics stock. We are confident he will be completely vindicated and exonerated. They're giving a press conference. The U.S. attorneys presiding over the case, in the Southern District of New York at 12, within an hour or so. His attorney's going to be present there to address reporters. I don't know if her name or his name's in this. So there's a lot to it. It was in June. It was in June of 2017. You can clearly see, but again, I like this dude, okay? And he's a huge Trump supporter. And in fact, I think he is the first sitting congressman to openly, endorse President Trump. I don't know if they're friends or not, being from New York. He's from upstate New York, I'm almost certain. It says New York 27. Okay, but... And private sector business. This is his house, bio, touting, his private sector, his private sector experience and accomplishments. Chris Collins is a successful businessman with over 36 years in the private sector, saving and creating hundreds of good-paying jobs in Erie, Niagara, and Monroe counties. That's totally upstate New York, Niagara Falls, that is, like near Buffalo and stuff. Innate. His current companies include Innate Immunotherapeutics, pharmaceutical, secondary progressive MS. I think that's multiple sclerosis, and that's the drug in question that, failed the FDA approval. And the stock it's down to 30 cents from where it was up at $7, and at some point, but that's not. I think it's in June 2017 that they're alleging that he gave non-public information. They're alleging this to his son to instructed him to sell or advised him to sell before the information came public. So again, just to review, I mean, it says, prosecutors allege Collins learned Innate's drug failed an FDI trial. He told Innate investors, including his son Cameron, about the news, which led them to sell off stock before the failure was publicly known. Quote, while the two were still on the phone, Collins placed an online order with his broker to sell approximately 50,000 shares of Innate. Prosecutors allege Cameron Collins and Stephen Zarsky, the father of Collins' fiance, have been charged. The congressman reportedly surrendered to federal agents in Manhattan this morning. I mean, I think that means, he was literally taken into cuffs and in custody. I think he's supposed to he's expected to appear in court later today. I don't know if he's still in jail or what. I think he might be. They're already talking about it. They were just Chaffetz, who's now a Fox News contributor, used to be a member of Congress from Utah, and they're already talking about whether or not he should step down and resign from his position in Congress for the good of the party and all that. I mean, it remains to be seen whether or not that will be that'll happen. Further details will be announced at a press conference around Friday midday. It's pretty remarkable. It is, I mean, it goes on in the CNBC piece about Tom Price, the former Health and Human Services Secretary, who during his confirmation, this came up supposedly. Not this, but this company or, well, let me see. I'm not positive of that. The indictment related to Innate draws new attention to the former U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price, who was grilled by lawmakers during his confirmation hearings in January 2017. About a tip on a company he allegedly received from Collins. January 2017 is a full 6 months before this happened. In fact, that's when the company was worth a lot, right there, at $10 at its height, around totally right there at 14.20, the very highest in January. That's the end of January 2017. And, it goes on to say that he got a tip to buy it, but that's, I don't know. I mean, that Cameron, something like that. Cameron Collins' attorney, Rebecca Resigliano, so she's going to be attending that press conference and addressing reporters. We look forward to addressing these charges in court, and we will not be commenting on this case outside of the courtroom. Okay, well, that contradicts what I just said. The GOP representative was already being probed by the House Ethics Committee, which found in October 2017 that there is a substantial reason to believe that Representative Collins shared material and non-public information in the purchase of Innate stock. So, I mean, it might have been early in trials. I don't know. The committee recommended further review. The defense are accused of multiple counts of securities fraud, as well as one count of wire fraud and one count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and one count each of making false statements. The congressman reportedly surrendered to federal agents in Manhattan on Wednesday morning. He's expected to appear in federal court in Lower Manhattan later today. So, and the reporter on Fox News was basically saying that I think in this 30-page indictment, it details a story of him getting an email from the CEO of Innate Therapeutics, while he's at a congressional picnic or something like that, and then from about something, and from about bad news of the company, about the drug failing to get approval by the FDA. I'm generalizing, and I don't absolutely know this. I didn't read the indictment, but and then from there called his son. I don't know if this is the call they're referring to when they're saying he was still on the phone, over here at the Daily Beast, saying he was still on the phone with him. While the two were on the phone, Cameron Collins placed an online order with his broker to sell approximately 50,000 shares of Innate. In June, if that would have been, if it was $7, whatever, it would have been I don't know. What's the math on that? 10,000 would be $7,000. It would have been $35,000. I got that about right? For that particular transaction. Did I do that right? 10,000 times 7 would be 70,000 actually. So 50,000 shares, $350,000. Wow. So down to here, which would be 62 cents. All right, and so I forgot when I was talking about the. Oh, I just remembered. So like I said, he claimed that the congressman, says that he never sold a share of stock, but the prosecutors are claiming that the reason that is because all his shares were tied up in an Australian stock exchange, and he wasn't able to, according to that. Even though this happens over a course of days, I mean, it does, from here. This is June 16th, where it's at 7. June 9th, June 16th at $6.97 down to June 30th down to 62 cents. All right, man, that's the story there. This is the Southern District of New York. This is I don't know who's heading up this district now. It was Preet Bharara, if I pronounce that right, Bharara, who was who's been on television on Meet the Press, can't stand Trump, and they have they've been at odds. Trump released him. Trump I don't know if the fire is the word, but who used to head up the Southern District of New York. It's a very, very prestigious district, that where a lot of people start their political careers, in the Justice Department. Comey's been there, I think Robert Mueller maybe, I'm not positive of that. I know, what's his name? Rudy Giuliani started there as a prosecutor. He became a public household name because of going after Wall Street, Michael Milken, the mob, and went on to run for mayor. So but I don't think it's any fan of Trump, although I don't know if Trump has appointed person who's heading that office at this point. Don't know. That's the end of this video. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel. Give me a like down below. I'll see you in the next video. Later.